In this lesson, we'll build across the back end as well as the bottom of the car. So we've got kind of the front end worked on a little bit. Let's go ahead and concentrate a little bit more on the back now. Now if I go to the top view, we can see that my belt line is off just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab some of these vertices and just move them over. So you can see as it comes back here, past this kind of sail panel here, it kind of comes around and comes into where the trunk comes out. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull that over. All right. So something a little bit more like that. Okay. And so now what we want to do is kind of put this right where that trunk is. And so that's where we want to actually bring this geometry across. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select basically these edges, and I'm not going to do just the top. I'm going to go ahead and do all the way down here as well. Okay, let's go ahead and do all the way down here. And let's stop right here. Let's just do this section right here. So now we'll go ahead and just with the Move tool activated and Shift, hold down Shift. I'm going to go ahead and pull this across. And let's just go ahead and kind of pull it all the way across to the middle. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and select these vertices. And let's go ahead and make those planar. Okay, so then we'll just kind of move those over here, and you can see that this is the point where it needs to come out. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull those out. All right, and now we can add some resolution in here to start to get this kind of smooth look here. So we'll go ahead and add a few lines in there just using our Connect tool that we like to use so much. And we'll go ahead and pull this out and just do some general shaping here really quick. So we go ahead and you can see that I actually extruded too many faces, so too many polygons. What I can do is come in and just delete those, and I'll just go ahead and move these back. So I want this to be right on the bottom of where that backlight's going to kind of come right in here. Okay, and so now we can come in and just start to shape this out a little bit better. Get a nice shape going. You can see now it continues all the way to the back end. All right, now for the bottom, let's go ahead and look at how we can do that. And this is going to be a little bit different because we have to deal with the wheel wells. So what we want to do is I'm going to go ahead and select basically this edge. If I go ahead and choose to continue the loop, you can see that it'll stop right in there. So I'll go ahead and control click that guy and continue that loop all the way around, and then do the same thing down here and continue that all the way to the front, and then again control click and then control click that loop, little arrow, all the way up here to the front. We'll end right about there. Okay, so now let's go ahead and extrude this across, and we're not going to extrude it all the way because we don't want those wheel wells to go all the way through, right? So what we want to do is actually just extrude these in, and then basically from the front we can decide where we want those wheel wells to end. So maybe right inside where that wheel is. You can see where that tire is right there. Okay, so if we decide to cut it off right there, we can then come in and actually bridge across here. So let's say we want to connect these pieces of these edges up, right? So we'll go ahead and select both of those edges, and we'll just bridge across. Okay, we can add a few segments in there if we want to. Okay, and then if we select this border edge, you can see that selects the entire thing, and then we can simply choose Cap. And now if we want to come in and actually connect these pieces up, we can do that. Now it doesn't really matter what goes on in here. I'm just going to try to connect these up as best I can. Just go ahead and choose Cut, and then I'm going to come in and actually I'm going to come across here and connect some of these up to begin with. Okay, if I can do that. And it's not wanting to let me do that, so I'm going to go ahead and connect up right here, and then try to come across and do it that way. So we got a little bit more to work with. And like I said, the geometry in here doesn't really matter that much. I'm just going to try to connect it up so we don't just have one giant end-on going on here. So I can go ahead and just come across, and this is going to be very similar to your split polygon tool. Okay, if you're used to working in Maya with a split polygon tool, it's going to be something very akin to that. Okay, and then we can come down and kind of connect down from here. We can come down and connect this up, and then we can come down here and let's keep in mind that this geometry is going to be disconnected from the rest of the body, so we don't have to keep all of that resolution in there if we don't want to. Hey, we can actually get rid of some of that. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to just connect this last one up right here, and come all the way down, and we'll just connect that up. And then let's go ahead and get rid of this edge. And keep in mind, when you hit backspace to delete an edge, the vertices are going to be left behind. So what I usually like to do is, when selecting edges, go ahead and hold down Control and backspace, and that'll just get rid of your edges. And then I can take some of these and just kind of move them up for the interior of the wheel well. Okay. And we don't we're not too concerned about this, so I'm going to go ahead and take this edge, and any of these edges I can go ahead and just delete. Either one of these. Okay, keeping in mind that this is all going to be separated out. All right, let's go ahead and do the same thing back here with this guy. So grab both of these edges. Let's go ahead and bridge across those. Okay, and you might want to up that or take it down, however you want to do that. You could also come in and take those edges and just pull them down. So if I, for instance, had all of these edges selected, let me just go ahead and select all these guys. And instead of using my move, I use my scale along with the shift key. I can go ahead and just pull these down like this. This would be a slightly different way of doing it. Okay, and that would enable you to kind of bring this in a little bit closer, and you'd still end up with the bridging across. So you could still have, you could choose 3 of these edges and then kind of 3 of these edges over here, bridge across in that way, and then you can see you've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you could do something like that. It may help you a little bit in as far as at least making things a little bit quicker. So then you can come in and cap that off, and then you go down to cut and start to connect this together. And you can see how it's a little bit quicker because you can see kind of what you're doing. So that's a little bit different way of doing it. Okay, and if you want that to be nice and tight in there, you want to add a nice edge loop right in here. I'm going to connect, and you can add just a simple segment here if you want that to be nice and tight when you go ahead and smooth it out. So anyway, now that we have the wheel wells there done, and it doesn't matter, I want to kind of pull these up a little bit and just create kind of a curve in there. But now that we have that, what we want to do is go ahead and take this edge that we created here, right? So if we go ahead and just grow that loop across, you can see that's actually going the direction I want it to go. I want it to go right across here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grow that. Go ahead and manually select these guys, and then let's go ahead and select those. And really don't want that to be selected, so I'm going to just go ahead and manually select these edges and come all the way across here, and that's just enabled us to kind of close off this this wheel well here that we have. Okay, so then we'll go ahead and just take those edges and just copy those over, and so you can see now it's flat. We don't have those wheel wells in there. Okay, and then we can go to either the front or the top and take a look at this. So we want it to come kind of down to the origin. We can select all the vertices. If we want to convert that selection to vertices, we can just hold down Control and click on the vertex button here, and that'll convert our edge selection to vertices. Let's go ahead and make those planar. Okay, I'll just move those over to the origin there. All right, so we've got the back end kind of extruded over. We've got kind of the bottom part extruded over. We can kind of move this over to match it up a little bit better, but we'll have a nice way to kind of overlap these things. But in the next lesson, what we want to do is actually detach the bottom. So we've got this extruded over. Now we need to come in and detach this and kind of create a nice belly pan here. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that in the next lesson.